Hello, intrepid experimenters. Welcome back to another week with Adhpa. What I do on this channel, Adhpa is my nickname, and I'm kind of a philosopher, I think is the best way to describe myself. I have a background in a fair amount of scientific stuff and a lot of math stuff. Pre-law, political science was my degree in the end. But I really am most fascinated with researching and understanding human energy and how it works, and then how we interact and can manipulate and use and consciously determine the energy that we're putting out and that's actually affecting our world. A lot of people call that spirituality. To me, it seems to be anything that has to be provable. If it's not provable, you can't say that it is. And I think that's the problem spiritual stuff runs into, is it focuses on trying to describe experiences and put it into language and stuff that people can understand, but it really doesn't tell you what the mechanism is. And I believe the mechanism itself is actually human energy, or living being energy. That is the energy that we produce in our bodies through taking in food and interacting in the world, and the energy we emit or produce in the world. And that includes everything from the very physical energy of the whole digestive system and the outputs of that, to the emotional, mental, auric energy, you might say, that humans put out. I believe we can investigate and know what this is, and I have theories about it, and that's kind of what this channel investigates. Part of that theory is that using tools like tarot cards and other divination tools can help people access this energy, and get information and interpret it. And everyone's going to be interpreting energy. They may or may not be accurate interpreters. So I'm interested in understanding it to be able to be the most accurate interpreter of the energy coming through me. And in my work and experience, I believe these tools help us do that. Now, the key to getting accurate interpretations has to do with understanding our connection to all, and in the life field, this unseen field that we all exist in, and having respect for that. So if you are actually understanding your connection and respecting all that, all life has value and is here by a divine consciousness of sorts. It's here. So there's a point, there's a reason, it needs to be respected. It's all connected. So I think if you have that respect, you can develop very strong interpretive skills based on these, and that's what I work with. So, but to that end, this week, I'm going to do a Christmas reading or holiday reading, or solstice reading, or year-end reading, to see what it is we need to know and be aware of as a collective for the coming week and into the next year. And I'll be using the Tim Burton's L'Étrange Noël French deck I got when I was lucky enough to visit Paris with my daughter last year, which was amazing. Highly recommend. Okay, hold tight. I'll bring you down. We'll throw the cards and see what they have to say about the last week of 2025 going into the new year, 2026. What do we as a collective need to be aware of? Hold tight. All right, I'll shuffle the deck a few last times here, and then we'll draw cards for what we need to know for this last week of the year going into the new year. What do we need to be aware of as a collective? What do we need to be aware of? The reason for speaking that intention out loud is really just to solidify it in yourself and in your body. You know, a lot of people talk about spirit guides, and there are definitely invisible beings and intelligences out there. So I'm not saying that they don't exist. But for me, I'm not speaking it out loud to talk to guides. I'm speaking it out loud to engender that energy in my hands and in the cards so that I give myself the best answer from my connection into the all. And that's what I'm looking for. But you could just do it inside. The key is holding the intention. So even now, as I talk to you about other things, I'm still holding the intention for the cards to tell us what we need to know for the coming week. And that's just a sort of a trick you teach your system. All right, we had 2 come out on the top, so we'll take those as the top. Now, normally I do some sort of a clarifying card to read. And so in this case, we'll go ahead and use the pocket oracle that I like and to do the clarifiers for this read. Let me just shuffle those up a couple times. All right, we got one that definitely popped. Now we got some that have gone all kinds of ways, and we'll let them go the way they go. All right, so the signifier card in a Celtic Cross reading, which is what I'm doing here, is the 5 of Pentacles. In this, it's the Sancta Cadeau. That is about that. Well, here it is, Christmas season. You might not be feeling like you're getting what you want. There's a sense of being adrift out in the cold, that uncomfortable mid feeling of am I rising slowly or falling slowly? The movement is not going the way we want it to go in this moment. There's things falling apart around us, perhaps. That might be the way that the collective is feeling, is in this wellness deterioration. And that's clarified by the lower world. And I think that that's, you know, when we talk about the lower world, we can be talking about a very negative context, but this is really talking about that world that's below our conscious recognition. The unseen lower energies, entities, things functioning below the surface. And that could be good stuff. So it doesn't have to be negative stuff. But when we have subconscious stuff going on that we cannot tap into and understand and have some conscious effect on, that's harder on us. And so that's what this is saying, is there's something bubbling up from below. There's a sense in the waters of this struggling to thrive going on. And the challenge that we face as we come to the end of the year, you know, this is also like the lowest point of the year, moon-wise, solstice-wise. So it could also be reflective of that. We're challenged by le monde, the world. You know, this is the end of the cycle, the end of the year, the start of a new world. You know, for those of us that follow Earth and planetary signs, the real beginning of the next cycle up is the solstice that we just had. So we're in the new cycle of moons and sun, if you want to call it that. Some people say it's the spring, the March equinox. The midpoint is really the new world, that where equal light day and night, is the starting point from a point of equality. So, you know, you can look at that different ways. But here, the challenge is that there is this coming to end of cycles. There is an end of cycle portal event occurring in this final card of the higher arcana as the challenge, and that's clarified by the journey. You know, that is a cyclical journey. We're at the end of some sort of cycle. This is what we're challenged with as we're currently struggling with well-being. What we have control of, le chariot, the chariot. Nice little Christmas chariot there. You know, things moving along in a giving, gifting, reciprocity, a loving connection movement. So there's that represented here in the chariot, but it's really about our life journey. We had control over the momentum. That's ours to determine whether we're going to try to meet this challenge quickly, slowly, the pace, whether we hold back. That's in our control. And that's as clarified by the child. Really what this is saying is we started this journey. We controlled this journey from forever for ourselves. So whatever point we're at now, we brought ourselves here. We can't simply blame the bad actors in the world. We always have control over how we move through the world. And the past affecting us now is le pendu, the hanged man. There has been a suspension and a reflection and a reversal, a world, an upside down world. Things have been hanging upside down. In this case, Santa's not actually upside down. He's just hung out there. You know, all the good things, the Santa, that is the spirit connection hung out there in the past recent events. The blade, that blade of the obsidian blade that cuts through whatever's holding us, you know. It's as if this is saying that in the past we have been forced to look at things from a different view and use our discernment to slice away the lies and get to the truth. What we cannot control is the sept de cadeaux, the seven of Pentacles. This is about those unopened gifts, the unfinished wrapping, the preparatory hoarding up of the gifts without a sharing out and a giving. It's like there's a stopping the momentum. So what we can't control about what's coming in the next week could literally be, we can't control how many gifts we will hold on to, right? There's a time for giving and a time for preparing to give. And we may not have control over that. There may be gifts withheld from us, or we may withhold gifts because we can't help it. There's something that interrupts it. There's a reason. And that's clarified by the corn, each in its own time. So what I'm reading is that in the last week, through the last week, things might not come as we expect them to come. They have to come in their own time, and we might be wanting them sooner than they're ready. You know, and we'll always have to go through that. Even when things are perfect, things will be in cycles, and we will still always have to prepare and wait and do the work before what's going to come as a harvest later. The intentions and what we're creating, this is the neuf de potion, the 9 of cups. This is that, it's all out there on the shelf. We're trying to get all our ducks in a row. And, cups represents the energy, the human energy. Like the water of the ocean is the field of the ocean. The water of our environment, our air, the connection of that field is our water that we're immersed in. It just doesn't look like water to us, but it is in its own way. So we are creating a situation where all the opportunities are out there, but you have to pay for it. You have to pay the piper. We're going to pay for the types of energy stuff we want, but that means less waste as well. Yes, you might have to search out the right vendor, get the right quality, look for the sales, whatever it is. However, that's a shift from simply being affected and battered around by the energies to having some agency in determining which energies you're going to bring into your life, right? Making those consumer choices. And that is clarified by stand still. This is about we're going to have the opportunity to do some window shopping. How about that? How's that? So you might have a lot more people this year not purchasing gifts so much as preparing gifts for later benefit, while they stand still in the moment, considering which energies they really want off that shelf. And how we see ourselves is le cavalier de bougie, the Knight of Wands. This is passion, what lights us. We are in charge of it. We're charging ahead. We see ourselves as the ones that are supposed to take passionate actions. And that is clarified by the Sweat Lodge. We just feel this. We feel this in our nature. This is about the internal Sweat Lodge. We are the actors in our own internal Sweat Lodge. This is really about getting fired up through the new year. So I think people are in a reflective mood about how they want to direct their passions now. And the environment in which we sit, le roi de cadeaux, this is the King of Pentacles. This is where someone else is directing the external agent's well-being. So here we are sitting here with, feeling like we should be passionate actions, but someone else seems to have control over the well-being. I don't think that feels very comfortable going into the end of the year. But you could also see this as this king really does have well-being of all at heart. And even though we are the actors, we have to understand we're in an environment where there are higher entities that actually do the work to control the earth field and provide the well-being for all. This is clarified by the Time Master, and I think that gives us that clarification. Yes, we're here on the earth to act among other beings and entities, but there's a Time Master that's king of well-being, which is universe, or the Wakantanka, if you want to call it God and Christ, whatever you want to call it. There is something outside of human power that has this power over the planet. Hopes and fears, le valet d'Aguia. This is the Page of Swords. This is we're afraid there's someone's going to come out and bust the bubble. There's a bubble buster. There's someone who's going to tell on you, the tattletale. It's a good, who might be stirring the pot, right? And here he's kind of the pot stirrer. I got something on it. I got the news. But there's also in that a hope that someone's going to come out with some truth. Some babes out of the mouths of babes are going to spill this real truth that could launch us forward. So I think that in this end of the year, there's some concern about what is being brought out, truths that are being brought out, and who they're being brought out by. And people are finding in that both depending on how it relates to them personally, either hope or fear. And that's clarified by the sacrifice. You could say in some ways this is about the Christ narrative. Here we have a birth of Christ, but this will later be a sacrificial being for the good of all. That's sort of in here. So you have the truth teller, the babe. The babe is born, who will later be sacrificed. And in this iconic story is our hope and fear, because what I think all of us can relate to the idea of, as a child, at some point somewhere, believing we had, because we were here, something to give, some gift to give, and then finding sacrifices along the way may have led us away from our gift, away from our desires. So there's this hope and fear in this, and this is represented in these two cards. So as we go through the end of the year, I think people are looking to establish what priorities really matter and prepared to sacrifice some of the things that really don't meet that anymore to get back on their correct path. The outcome? Oh, l'empereur. Look, Santa showed up. So the emperor, but it is also related to this. But this is Santa Claus coming. Santa's coming, right? There is some earthly wise leadership function that's going to assert itself in some positive way. So this could be something along the lines of seeing true earth leadership, human, the one leadership sorry, here, about lost my camera there, folks. They like that. So we may see a leader emerging who really helps us to meet this challenge of coming into a new world. We're able to create something entirely new here. Oh, and that's clarified by the hummingbird. That little hummingbird is ubiquitous miracles. Ubiquitous miracles. These little guys do the impossible all over the world year after year. They show up everywhere, and they always spark joy when they do. And so to have the emperor becoming ubiquitous in a joyful way is a very positive card outcome for the end of the year. But we could well see some big leadership changes that are felt throughout the world. Underlying this reading is le huit de potion, the 8 of cups. Yeah, there is some sadness, of going through. We're going through a change portal. This is not avoidable. This is the challenge. This is the journey. Has to happen. So that is a walking away event. Here we have cups left in the graveyard. Leave those things behind that don't serve. We're back to cutting through to the truth and getting rid of the things that do not serve. Just leave them there and walk. There's a sun about to rise on the other side. So, and that clarified on the back, many paths. There are many many paths to get to that sunrise on the other side. But this is happening, and people are going many different paths to do it. But that's what the reading is saying we can look forward to for the next week. Okay, and into the new year. Hold tight, I'll bring you up, we'll close it out. Alrighty, well, I think that was a very important reading for the week and going into the new year. Here we are. Another year is closed out. It's been hard, but it's revealed a lot of things. And it's provided us with an opportunity to really choose what we're going to have on our shelf in 2026. What is your priority? Let the stuff go that doesn't matter. Connect in. Find your inner connection to what's under your waters, and be gentle and loving with yourself to heal through this and to become and create the energies that you want abundant around you in 2026. Look for leadership change, and when that happens, seek the highest good. Seek those leaders that have that respect and can work with the life field to the benefit of all of us to help the planet move ahead in a good way, towards sustainable living, I think. So with that, I'll say, may you enjoy every moment of this final week of the year of 2025. And may all your hopes and dreams become clear to you so that you can hold tightly to those ones you want to create in 2026. And I'll be holding the light for you. See you next week. Love you guys.